You are listening to Bedtime Dreamy Tales. Please make sure you have smashed that like button and subscribe to our channel for new story. Story title, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Once upon a time, high up in the Serene Mountains, there was a small village where a little boy named Leo lived. Leo came from a family of shepherds who had cared for their sheep for generations. Leo's father, a wise and kind man named Samuel, owned a large flock of fluffy white sheep. It was a family tradition to take turns watching over the sheep, and now it was Leo's turn. Every morning, Leo would lead the sheep up to a lush green hill just outside the village. From there, he could see the entire village and the surrounding forest. His job was to make sure the sheep were safe and sound. If a wolf ever came near, it was his duty to shout for help so the villagers could come running to chase the wolf away. Leo took his job seriously at first, but as days turned into weeks, he began to grow bored. The sheep were quiet and calm, and there wasn't much to do. Leo would lie on the grass, looking up at the sky, and dream of exciting adventures. He longed for something thrilling to happen. One sunny afternoon, as Leo lay daydreaming, he thought of a mischievous idea. What if I pretend there's a wolf, he thought. It would be fun to see everyone come running. The very next day, Leo decided to put his plan into action. He stood up, cupped his hands around his mouth, and shouted, "Wolf! Help! There's a wolf chasing the sheep!" His voice echoed through the valley. Hearing his cries, the villagers dropped everything they were doing. The blacksmith left his forge, the baker abandoned his dough, and the children stopped their games. They all ran towards the hill, armed with sticks and stones, ready to scare away the wolf and save the sheep. But when they arrived, they found no wolf. Instead, they saw Leo rolling on the ground, laughing hysterically. "You should have seen your faces," Leo giggled. "There was no wolf. I was just bored." The villagers were not amused. They shook their heads and returned to their work, grumbling about the boy's prank. The next day, Leo felt bored again. Remembering how much fun it had been to fool everyone, he decided to play the trick once more. "Wolf, wolf," he cried. "Help! The wolf is attacking the sheep." Again, the villagers came running. Again, they found no wolf. And again, Leo laughed at them. "You fell for it again," he said, holding his sides from laughing so hard. This time, the villagers were furious. "You shouldn't lie, Leo," they scolded. "One day there might really be a wolf, and no one will believe you." Days passed, and Leo continued to watch the sheep. One day, as the sun was setting and the sky turned a beautiful shade of orange, Leo heard a rustling noise coming from the forest. He stood up and squinted his eyes, trying to see what it was. To his horror, a large gray wolf emerged from the trees, its eyes fixed on the flock of sheep. Leo's heart raced. He ran to the edge of the hill and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Wolf! Wolf! Help! There's a real wolf! Please help me!" This time, the villagers heard his cries but remembered the previous false alarms. They shook their heads and said, "It's just another one of Leo's tricks. We won't be fooled again." The wolf snarled and chased the sheep, scattering them in all directions. Leo's cries grew more desperate. "Please help! The wolf is here! It's not a trick!" But no one came. The villagers continued with their work, convinced that Leo was lying once more. By the time the villagers realized something was wrong, it was too late. Leo returned to the village, tears streaming down his face. He had lost all of his family's sheep. The villagers gathered around, and Leo tearfully explained what had happened. "We're sorry, Leo," they said, "but this is what happens when you lie. No one believes you when you finally tell the truth." Leo learned a hard lesson that day. He realized how important it was to be honest, and that trust, once broken, is difficult to rebuild. His father, Samuel, comforted him, saying, "It's a painful lesson, but it's one you'll never forget. From now on, always be truthful, no matter what." From that day forward, Leo became known for his honesty. The villagers slowly began to trust him again. And Leo, having learned the value of truth, never played tricks on the villagers again. He grew up to be a wise and responsible shepherd, always keeping a watchful eye on his flock and never crying wolf unless it was real. And so, the village returned to its peaceful ways, with everyone a little wiser from the lesson learned. The story of Leo and the wolf was told to children for generations, a reminder of the importance of honesty and the consequences of lying. If you like this story, please give this video a like. For more stories, go to bedtimedreamytales.com. See you in the next story.